Hey everyone, Amy here. I am so glad you're here today because I have a story to share with you, and you have actually been a part of this story since the very first episode of Create Magic at Work. I am sharing this special conversation I had with my dear friend and colleague, Sandra Bargman, on her podcast, The Edge of Everyday. As some of you longtime listeners may recognize, Sandra is a returning guest here on Create Magic at Work. Her previous conversations around ferocious compassion, anger, and the reluctant leader were wildly popular and deeply impactful for our community. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the birth of Magic Thread Media, the podcast network I founded to weave together conscious voices for a more connected world. I am so honored to announce that Sandra is officially moving The Edge of Everyday, her podcast, to the Magic Thread Media Network this April. And many of you already know Sandra as a powerhouse guest, but she is also the voice and presence coach here at the Create Magic at Work executive coaching firm. Sandra is the one who helps our clients strip away that corporate mask, find their most authentic, genuine voice, and helps you share your story with the world. In this episode, we talk about the beauty of being messy, which is a funny conversation, the power of women stepping into their vision out loud, and what it looks like to build a dream from the ground up. Join us in this conversation and celebrate with us. Hey, it's Amy. Welcome to Create Magic at Work, where we cast visions for a future of work where business decisions ripple outward to our teams, our communities, the planet, and humanity as a whole. If you're ready to edge walk instead of sleepwalk through your leadership, you're in the right place. So let's start making magic at work.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra Bargman, and welcome back to the Edge of Everyday. I have some fantastic news to share with you, and this news centers around my guest today. The Edge of Everyday podcast is moving to a new platform. As of April 15th, my birthday, the Edge of Everyday will live on a new platform, Magic Thread Media, founded by Amy Lynn Durham, host of Create Magic at Work podcast, which is now in the top 5% of the podcasting world. Woo-hoo! And today we are live in the hive with Amy herself to talk all about it. Oh, I'm so excited for this conversation. But before we dive in, let me share a bit about Amy. Amy Lynn Durham is the founder of the executive coaching firm Create Magic at Work and is the host of the globally recognized Create Magic at Work podcast. She is the author of both the prompt journal, Creating Career Magic, and the activity book, Create Magic at Work. Through her multifaceted endeavors, Amy epitomizes the mission of Create Magic at Work to inspire intentional leadership, innovative strategies, and a culture of collaboration, transforming workplaces into thriving environments where magic is not merely a concept, but a tangible reality. Amy is the founder and executive producer at Magic Thread Media, a media and publishing studio producing podcasts, companion works, and original creative IP through a curated network of voices. This platform extends conversations about leadership, culture, and the human experience into long-form media, publishing, and live experiences. Welcome, Amy Lynn Durham, to the Edge of Everyday.
Thank you, Sandra. Thanks for having me here. And wow, I'm so humbled and excited that the Edge of Everyday is going to be a part of the Magic Thread Media podcast network. So,
Amy, I am humbled and honored to become a part of it. And You know how I feel about you. Yes, listeners, I'm tearing up even at the top of this episode. Amy Lynn has become a friend and so much more. I have so much respect for her professionalism, her talent, her immense creativity, and all of the magic that she puts out into the world. So I'm just thrilled. Wherever you're going, I want to be there, lady.
Thank you. Because sometimes we do it messy, but we get it. We're
But
getting
we do
it
it.
done. Yeah, we're getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I love it, and
one
I
person's messy.
I'm grateful and honored for our friendship. That's been how many years has it been now? I mean, I remember we got in the studio. Well, we met through podcasting
Yeah.
and through the Edge. Well, we met through the
And
Edgewalker community, and
is it
then
4 years or 5 years now? I think it's
yeah.
5 years now.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
You could.
COVID time warp.
Totally fully. Oh my
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah, totally. And yes, we met through Edgewalkers. And let's keep COVID in mind because when we
Mhm,
talk about our podcasting journey, COVID is definitely a part of my podcasting journey. But
mhm.
we met in Edgewalkers. We are both Edgewalker certified facilitators. And for those listeners who I know Amy's audience knows all about Edgewalkers. And from time to time, whenever I can plug Edgewalkers and talk about it, and I've had Judy Neal, the founder of Edgewalkers, on the podcast a couple of times, actually 3 times. I always want to plug it and talk about it. Edgewalkers are, well, why don't you weigh in here, Amy? Edgewalkers are
Yeah.
change makers.
We are the bridge builders and the change makers of the world. And it's a way that we respond to change. We like change. We
Yes.
embrace change. We look to the future with creative, positive visualization. There's light and shadow with being an edge walker.
Mhm.
And we also need all of the other archetypes of change surrounding us to keep us from falling off the edge.
Yes, exactly. A world full of Edgewalkers is not necessarily a good thing. But
Yes. Yes.
did I
But
ever tell
now
you
more
this?
than ever, I think we need edge walkers and the skills
Oh
and
Lord.
qualities that embody what an edge walker is. And I think now more than ever, people are responding to that as well, wanting
Yeah,
to
because
amplify that.
change is speeding is coming at us exponentially.
Yep.
And people who are struggling with it, and that's part of the reason behind your network. That's part of the reason behind this podcast is helping
Mhm.
people deal with change. Did I ever tell you the story about how I met Judy and how I discovered Edgewalkers?
No.
I was writing Anger and the Reluctant Leader
Mm.
for Leslie Michaels, which I've talked about on Amy's podcast, Hello.
Mhm.
And I wrote a phrase, and because I'd been using it, I walked the edges of my communities. And one day I just Googled that phrase, as you do, and Edgewalkers website.org comes up. Edgewalkers International comes up. This is a thing. Woo. And of course, I had her on, and being a part of Edgewalkers has completely changed my life. And
Mhm.
meeting you is part of that.
Yeah.
And it informs edge walking because it is so much who we are. It informs
Mhm.
all of the choices that we make, including podcasting,
Mhm.
including creating Magic Thread Media. The bravery, the willingness to intuit what's coming over the horizon, to have a sense of what the future holds. So, yes, podcasting, your B ring also brought us together.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
saw I saw a picture of Amy. She had on this enormous B ring, and I was like, I need to know her. I
Yeah.
really need to know her.
Yeah, because of the symbolism with the bee in your cover art for your show and the Live in the Hive and all of those amazing things that we can't wait to have over on the
Yeah,
Magic Thread Media
yeah.
Network. The Hive.
The hive, the
Moving the
building of
hive.
the community. The hive is moving to Magic Thread Media. Well,
Yeah.
and I chose that originally in the solo show because there's a variety of ways I can use it. I can use the fun waggle dance and make people stand up in the audience and do silly things to meet each other. But it really was about the Native American wisdom, the medicine of the bee being about communication
Mhm.
and which and building community
Mm.
and working together. I mean, that
Mhm.
was the reasoning behind choosing. I had three animals, and the bee was the most front and center.
Yep.
And so it remains a part of it. Yes.
It's the teamwork. Mhm.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
teamwork. Okay, so podcasting brought us together. I want to ask you, what was the story of you getting into podcasting? And when did you start your podcast? And what was the spark that kind of brought you into that?
Yeah, I was reflecting on that this morning. So I left my corporate executive job in about the spring of 2019, and then I went off on this journey, became an executive coach, certified from UC Berkeley, started Create Magic at Work, published the book, and then I had um this was in the end of 2019. Someone reached out to me on LinkedIn that I didn't know from the Republic. His name's Jakob, and he's a friend of mine to this day, which this was, I think, before we were like bombarded on LinkedIn with their bot that sends you fake messages over
Yeah.
and over from someone.
Yes.
Um, and he really is the one. He's the spark that started all of this because he basically put me on the guesting circuit as a podcast guest. He was like, I'm going to have you do 20 shows a month or something like that. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, that's too many. So we scaled it back and I started guesting on all of these podcasts talking about spiritual intelligence in the workplace from a faith neutral lens. And then the response with that was, how are you talking about this at work? People were saying,
Mhm.
how is this being received? It was really cool. And it was kind of a new topic that
Yeah.
I think people were curious about. And then it just grew from there. I started getting feedback. You should start your own podcast. And I thought, oh, yeah, maybe I should. And then Create Magic at Work was born in September of 2021. And it's been a long journey from there and met many, many amazing people through that
Mhm.
podcasting journey for sure. Talking about quantum leadership and spiritual intelligence in the workplace and what the executive coaching firm Create Magic at Work is all about. And then it's so funny you asked me this because then like it was like guesting, then having the show Create Magic at Work. And now here we are, the end of 2025, Edgewalker, sensing what's over the horizon. I started seeing this technology. I started seeing how we could have a network of these conscious voices because I met so many amazing people that I am kind of stunned that I get to be around them. Like really, truly. Like the voices on Magic Thread Media that are coming to life. I'm like, how did these people come into my orbit? Like this is incredible. And we needed a place for those voices. It wasn't just a guest episode. It was like you need to have your own voice on your own channel, and this is what it can look like. And the technology aligned that I stumbled upon, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And it's going to be called Magic Thread Media. And it's going to be a curated network of conscious voices. And we started in December of 2025. It's already grown and morphed and evolved because we're more than a boutique podcast network. We're doing publishing. We're doing I mean so many cool things. I can't even like so many cool things are coming from this and the energy around it's insane. My biggest feeling from having lived through all of this and the roller coaster of being an entrepreneur and podcasting was when I sensed this. It was like, I'm doing this. I don't care what it takes. I just turned 50 this year, and I was like, we're done. We're done with these visions that aren't manifesting into reality. Like, this is going to be brought into reality. And I don't care what it takes, and I'm not going to drag my feet on it, because being in the entrepreneur world, being in the corporate executive world, I see ideas that people have, and then they're not born. And I've had ideas that haven't been born also.
Mm.
And I was like, no, no, no. This one's going to be brought into our 3D reality. And I moved quick. I I'm going off on a tangent, but I just have to
I
share
love
all
it.
this all coming
Go,
because
go.
we'll sit with clients. Maybe there's some entrepreneur clients that want to refine their logo for 5 months before they launch, or have the perfect website before. I was like, we're not doing that. I had a logo in a week. It was magical. It was incredible. We have a very simple website explaining what we do, couple pages. A lot of it's invitation only because it's like the network of curated voices. And yeah, Magic Thread Media is out here and we are doing things.
Oh my. Oh, I love this so much. And it just popped out at me when you said, and I turned 50, and it was like, bam, I'm doing this. I'm taking no prisoners. I am stepping out in a much bigger way. I mean, it's not like you were small, but bam, I'm going to do this. Well, and I wrote the Edge of Everyday solo show when I was 50.
Mm,
Like, it was the same. I'm going to step up and out and share my voice in a bigger way. And this, listeners, is the theme of all of our work, stepping in and sharing our voice in a larger way. All of the voices Amy's highlighting, her own voice, my voice, all the work that I do on the Edge of Every Day is lifting up voices, sharing stories, getting it up and out into the world. But anyway, I wrote The Edge of Every Day and started it in my early 50s, and debuted it and did it for a couple of years, and then did a live recording that you can purchase on CD Baby and Amazon. And it was 2019, and I was that was 2016 when we did the CD release party. And then in 2019 I was updating it, making it a little more political, and COVID hit. And I rolled around for a good 9 months, sadly, after I lost all of my theater work and my weddings and such. And I decided to turn this into all the concepts, the spiritual concepts that were explored in the Edge of Every Day under the umbrella of my company, Sacred Stages LLC, bring that into the format of podcasting. And so I started a month after you in October 2021.
mm. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I know. Well, the reason I tell that story is because I one of the things I wanted to ask you is how podcasting,
Mhm,
the stepping into that journey, and that the willingness to put yourself out there,
mhm,
how did that contribute or help grow you into going, you know what, I'm doing this network, period.
mhm.
Boom. Like this trajectory of confidence building and stepping in more into your voice and wanting to share it in a bigger way.
Yeah, it it's a combination of things. The guesting helped with the repetition and really shaping and framing my message. If I go back and listen to the first guest episode I did, I will probably crawl under a table and hide with a blanket over my head. I yeah. But as the practice continued, my message got sharper, and I just the other piece that contributed is there's a lot of I can't remember if we can cuss on your show.
Yes, you can.
Because
Oh,
okay,
please. With
yeah, there's
me,
a
with
lot
my
of
truck
like
driver mouth.
there's a lot of like not giving a shit anymore of what
Yeah.
other people think.
Yeah.
And this whole conversation about turning 50, Yeah, I think it's contributing to doing what I want to do, sharing the message I want to share, knowing it's going to touch and fall on the ears of the people that are meant to hear it, and letting the rest kind of fall away. And I I know we've talked about this before with spiritual intelligence, but it truly is that, like when you were saying leveling up confidence, I feel like it's more like leveling up the inner knowing of the paradox of the breadth of our time perception. And what that is I try to remind myself every day, I'm going to cry, that I have this, that my life is extremely important and extremely profound, and yet I'm also a tiny piece of the history of the universe. And knowing that that living in that paradox helps me not give a shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll look out the window and I'm like, there's so many billions of people on the planet and I'm just one of them. And sometimes, I mean, this might not be the best comparison, but I kind of like, we're just kind of like fleas on the earth's back. I know I've heard that before too, or like just, we're just like, let's not take ourselves so seriously. And
And
let's
yet,
follow that message and follow that passion and see what comes of it. And it's not always easy. It
yeah,
hasn't been puppy dogs and rainbows and ice cream since I left my corporate job, but it also has led to this network, this new company, Magic Thread Media, and I can't even tell you how much energy is surrounding this. I don't have control over it. I can just harness the energy coming in because it's its own thing. We started in December and like here we are 2 months later and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to like hold on here.
I know.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's that. I think every conversation you have, every interview you do, it builds on that not really caring what people think anymore.
Yeah, so true. I remember the first episode I did, I was nervous, so nervous, which is so funny, but it was a whole different ball game than, getting on stage and having a script and, blah, blah, blah. It was, it was such a great way to step forward and yeah, and to share all of the spiritual concepts, but more importantly, to contribute to the universe, as you said, that to know that I'm doing this for my own passion because I want to know myself better. I want to share my voice and I know that I've got things to contribute. But I also know that to your point, I'm just a small piece of this large picture. And so the paradox and the juxtaposition, the bridge building, the edge walking of that my words or my guests' words can ripple out in ways that we can't even imagine.
Yeah. It reminds me of, and I don't even know if this is the exact phrase or mantra, but it hits me so like, wisdom is knowing I am nothing.
Right.
And love is knowing I am everything and sort of living in that space.
In that paradox,
Correct.
which is the edge of every day,
Yeah.
which is 3D, which is, yeah. And allowing that, which is the vision of the edge of every day, as long as you allow if you hold both of those, so, then something, and allow them to synergize, then something completely different emerges from that.
hmm You know what else it is? It's also an extreme exercise in self orientation,
Mm,
whether when you step into something like this, whether it's going to be high or whether it's going to be low, and whether you are going to continue to practice having low self orientation when you show up to have a conversation and get out of your own way.
mhm.
So, in the beginning, maybe we're concerned about feedback or how we look on camera or uh, if I'm saying or like I always tell my producer of Create Magic Work, I'm like, I'm an 80s Valley girl, and so we might need to take like out a little bit in some of these, but we want to keep the human there. But truly, if I look back on the journey of podcasting and all the way leading up to starting the network, it really has been almost getting a PhD in low self-orientation. And I certainly don't get it right all the time, but it's definitely about getting out of our own way and not focusing on ourselves and focusing on the message and the person we're speaking with and all of those other things. Yeah.
The overall service of it all. Yeah. Brings a lump to my throat. That's so beautiful. Well, let's talk about the move when I'm
Mhm.
coming over. First of all, I also want to take a moment to thank Maximize You and Sal and Laura Selly, where the Edge of Everyday has had also had a place to live. I've enjoyed my time there, and I'm continuing to work with Maximize You. So, I mean, our relationship and partnership is going to continue, but new episodes will not be going to Maximize You. They so my thanks to Sal and Laura Selly, also met through Edgewalkers.
Mhm.
And I also want to just toss out, because you are one of them, between Edgewalkers and my podcasting. I could never have known. I dragged my feet to start into podcasting. I was like, please, we need another podcaster.
Yeah.
Like, we need a hole in the head. And my friend sat me down and said, listen, girl, you have a perspective on life that people need to hear. And you have a way of helping people to tell their story. So you need, whether 500 or 5 million or 500,000 million people listen to it, doesn't matter. Do it. And I thought, okay. And it was, of course, that was my fear talking. At the end of the day, that's what it was about. But
Mm.
I want to thank my friends for kicking me in the butt to do it, because podcasting has and the Edgewalker community have changed my life in immeasurable
Yeah.
ways. The people that I consider close friends now, I know through Edgewalker and podcasting.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm here because of that with you.
Mhm.
So I got to shout that out. So I will be taking a break through. I'll still be doing some interviews, but they won't be posted until I make the move to Magic Thread Media. My first thing will air on April 1st, and then my first episode will air on April 15th, my birthday.
Yeah. So exciting.
Happy birthday to you. Yes.
I can't sing a song for you like you sang for me on my birthday. I'll spare you the agony. But I felt honored that I got your voice on mine.
Oh, jeez. Well, I'll sing for both of us, my friend.
There
Um, so what else do we need to include? I want you to talk about the publishing arm maybe a bit, and
Mhm.
your and let's definitely stop on coaching, your coaching work, the executive coaching
Yep.
team.
Yeah. So it's super interesting because the executive coaching firm Create Magic at Work and Magic Thread Media are like they coexist so beautifully. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we shared here was your amazing work with the voice and presence coaching for Create Magic at Work. So, if people don't know, you are a coach, you're on the transformational support team for Create Magic at Work. And the with the birth of Magic Thread Media, your work inside coaching for Create Magic at Work has really started to take off with the
Mhm.
voice and presence coaching.
Yes.
So we see a lot of people that have these amazing ideas that need some shaping. And often they start their journey with Magic Thread Media off with Sandra because you are incredible at pulling those threads from people, helping them show up exactly what we were just talking about,
Mm.
helping them show up without the mask on, helping them show up with low self orientation so their message lands that they feel inside that they really want to share. So that's been a really cool part of Magic Thread Media and Create Magic at Work. And we don't know where some people go with their thought leadership that come. Maybe they start a podcast. Maybe they start a mini series on an existing podcast with us. Maybe they go off and write their book and then we publish that. So it really just depends on where that energy is and how we can alchemize that into reality. So the publishing arm of Magic Thread Media is so exciting because it's the long-term vision. One of my favorite Edgewalker coaching question is if you are a high-level visionary, if you see these visions that you want to bring into reality, especially if I'm with a client and I'm coaching them on like the Edgewalker skills or qualities, and they come back really high on vision, I'll ask them to close their eyes and try to extend their vision beyond that vision.
Mm.
And like, what does that look like? What is that? Because they're kind of in that space where they can do that. And I feel like I have a vision beyond this existing vision, which is all of these pieces of all of these pieces of work are going to somehow manifest into live events. So we have the podcast shows, we have the boutique network, we have the books coming out that are companions to the shows, which I haven't even gotten into, but we're our publishing team, Michelle, who's on the team for Magic Thread Media, she curates these incredible art piece quote books
Mm.
from our shows. And they're literal, that's the magic. That's the piece that we love. That's Magic Thread Media is they're like these art piece quote books, like curated from your voice. So have you ever been driving in a car and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I love what this person just said. I want to write it down or I want to bookmark that." Well, now we're going to create these beautiful art piece books for that. So that's one piece. And so it's all going to come together into live events in the future where, someone like you, Sandra, can speak on the edge of every day or on your message of ferocious compassion, talk about the Edge of Everyday podcast, and then all of us that attend your amazing talk can grab this amazing art piece quote book of these incredible power quotes from Sandra Bargman, which I know you have many. I'm like one of your biggest fans, and like we've got to capture that. So that's the vision beyond the vision. And
That's
sometimes it overwhelms my mind. And so we'll see how this all forms into our reality within the next couple of years. Yeah.
amazing. Absolutely a phenomenal vision, and God, I can't stress enough, honored and thrilled to be a part of it. And I too have a vision beyond a vision. I think that one of the things that that's part of this, my story in the edge of every day is writing as an actor, is writing a play. I've had this idea for a while, and to your point about enough is enough, do it. And seeing the messaging, the magic of that idea. And I love that you use the word alchemize and the message of alchemizing that I intend to weave into this with the voices that I'm going to uplift in this play. As part of that, it's all one and the same. And this play and a production of this play it's one I'm envisioning it as a one woman show, would be a part of these live events or discussing the characters that are included within it and the choice of them and how that it might empower me or empower someone thinking about how they want to amplify their own voice on Magic Thread Media. And
Yeah.
it's just like all the tendrils, all the threads. So good.
So good. And you know what's so cool is the people that are emerging to work with us are they really want to start, well, a large majority of them want to start with you with voice and presence. There's a big uprising for that right now, at least in our sphere. And I think that's super encouraging
Mm.
because the majority of them are women.
Yeah.
And
Not surprising.
what are you seeing when I'm like, I'm not trying to turn into host here, but like I was curious to just add to that. What are you seeing when you first start working with someone for Create Magic at Work and Magic Thread Media? What's the one thing or two things that you're like, ah, here's
Yeah.
what's going to crack this open?
Well, I think it's a willing. What's going to crack it open is the admission of the way that women have held themselves back and held their voices smaller. I mean, it's completely in alignment with ferocious compassion.
Hmm.
It's this understanding that I have been socialized or have taken on this understanding that I don't quite own the message that I want to share out in the world.
Mm,
That I'm not, I don't quite embody it. I don't, I'm a little afraid to step into it fully because I don't want to be what? Too much, too
mhm,
this, too loud, too aggressive, too whatever. So that's really the profound thread through all of the work. Honestly, it's with the men that I've worked with, it's a bit of the same. It's a question of
mhm,
the willingness to be vulnerable and the willingness to see that as with men, to be vulnerable and to see that as their superpower, which of course they're socialized not to do that,
mhm,
whereas women are very socialized to be very, very tamped down and not big and loud, and which I'm not saying that I help people. I don't teach people to be bigger, louder, faster. But I do help them step more into their confidence within their story, their acceptance of their story, like owning their story. And it's the willingness to own it is where, and the spiritual willingness to own it is where the confidence stems from.
yep. And the permission to own it comes
And
up, I think, too. Yeah.
and yeah.
Powerful, powerful stuff. I've heard my last thing on your voice and presence coaching. Sorry, I geek out about it. Um, I've heard some people say they feel, and this comes into podcast editing because I know you're not going to edit this conversation. Like this is the real, the raw. We're live
Yep.
in the hive.
Right. Comes from my
um,
theater days.
yeah, and I've also heard, I've seen creatives get overly blocked or overly stuck in the editing space. I'm not going to release this because it's not perfect. I'm not going to release this because the exact music isn't on here. It's this artist thing I see in artists, and I think that you peel back everything, and underneath it's like there's a fear of rejection, there's a fear of putting yourself out there. And I've also heard some people say, "Well, I feel like words are indelible." Meaning once you put it out there, you can't take it back. I don't feel that way.
I
If
don't
if we
either.
were if we operated, I understand the power of words. I understand the magic behind our words and the intention when speaking, but I saying something like that to me, I think feels like it holds women back, especially. And I'm curious of your thoughts on that because if I sat here and felt that way and was waiting and waiting till I said the perfect thing that I couldn't ever take back or rewrite or redo, how would I ever have started this? How would we ever fuck up a conversation, a relationship and learn how to repair it?
Yeah,
How,
exactly.
how? So anyways, I don't want to take us on a tangent,
Oh,
but
no, no, it's a wonderful tangent, and there's, I mean, we can leave that to in the
yes.
air because I think that's I mean, I can certainly comment on it, but you and I feel the same way. It's a question of learning. It's a willingness to continue to upgrade. It's I cannot be afraid. I must be in the moment, and I'm only who I am in this moment. And I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And trust me, we've all done the work. But at some point, you've got to leap off the edge. You got to fly. You got to
Yeah.
say the thing. And you know what? When you land and you think and it changes, then you get to say, you know what? I think this now. I've I've upgraded my thoughts on this. I've expanded my thoughts on it. And this is how I feel. I mean, this is the spiritual intelligence. This is not, we as women who are taking a big journey, stepping into sharing their voice in a big way, you have got to embrace, I will make mistakes. And guess what? They're just learning. That's part of the success story, making a mistake. Because living through that and learning from that is also what gives you the confidence.
Yeah. That's so it takes me back to the beginning of our conversation when I said we're doing it messy. I did and I'm like thinking, yeah, that was me saying that we're not waiting for perfection. And
There's
I
no
don't
such
want it to
thing.
be yeah, and I don't want it to be misconstrued that we're doing the network messy, but there's something in the middle there where if there's some pops or cracks in an audio of an episode that we can't get rid of or a dog barks that you know, if the message is there, the message has to get out, and we're not gonna hold ourselves back
No. And
because I don't
I
have a I need an extra dot on my logo that, like, isn't perfect or you know what I mean? Like, that type of thing,
I
and
think we
so
learned this in COVID too. There was a sense that, we got to see into people's lives in a different way. And, a kid would walk through a Zoom, like a really
yeah, yeah,
professional Zoom, or a dog or
yeah,
cat would like all of a sudden show up. It's like, and there was something real life about that and charming and raw and spot on and kind of took people again, it's like live in the hive, man. Seeing how people react to that kind of shit is really interesting. Really revealing.
mhm,
And so I'm always game. And it makes me think about the music industry, how overproduced and, auto-tuned and this and that and nobody's breath and, the massive stars who are working towards not having it like that. I don't want the breast taken out. I don't want the this. I mean, this is life.
yeah.
This is life.
Why do you think albums are so popular in these stores? People going to buy they wanna hear that record. They
Yes.
wanna
Yeah.
you're yeah, you're s and the reactions to the videos or "Oh, you're a human like me. You have a pet like me. Great, just like me." Now we have some humanity that we can connect with. I'm sure there's some guardrails and barriers that we need in the workplace for stuff like that at times, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't want them barking all the way through, but oh, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I have a vision for the edge of every day.
Yes. Lay it on me,
But
baby.
yeah, so I really see a future with Magic Thread Media since you already record these live and there's really no I mean, this is the real, the raw. I mean, I think we should fully go live down the road so
Oh, I'd
people
love
can
that.
watch, so people can engage. I mean, you're doing it anyway. And so I think that might be I'm just dropping that in as maybe the next evolution of the
Love
show
it.
that we can look at.
I totally love it. I've thought about that in the plum in my
Mhm.
salon space.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, so much. So much magic to make. Oh, so much magic to create. Oh, Amy Lynn Durham, how thankful I am for to have you in my life as friend, as colleague, as creative playmate. It's just, I'm so grateful.
I feel the same. So excited to have you on the network. Can't wait for the trailer to come out. You have a new trailer launching
Yes.
beginning of April, so everyone can stay tuned for that. Oh, and we're so excited working behind the scenes. You have a new cover, new podcast cover coming. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
getting in,
Oh,
like I just feel like, oh, it's like album covers. Now it's like podcast, like so cool. And
so much fun.
the episode dropping on your birthday. I can't wait. So
Yeah,
thank you for coming over to the be in the thread.
indeed. So we can find you at
Mhm.
createmagicatwork.com.
Mhm. Mhm.
You are all over social media. Well,
Yeah.
you're not on Blue Sky, are you?
No, but I'm enough. It's
Yeah,
enough.
you're
Like, that's
yeah,
why I was like,
exactly. You're on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and you're
"Yep."
both Amy Lynn Durham and as well as Create Magic at Work.
Mhm.
And Magic Thread Media can be the website for that is
magicthreadmedia.com. And if you wanna check out the shows on the network, you can go to magicthreadmedia.com, or you can, if you're a Apple Podcast listener, any show on the network's connected in the Magic Thread Media channel. And, yeah, that's where
and
you
while
can
we're
go.
talking about Apple, if you're listening now and you like what you hear, subscribe, follow, and leave us a review about what you hear and how this podcast has helped or changed or inspired or uplifted or expanded you.
Absolutely.
Well, Amy Lynn, thank you. Thank you again for being on the Edge of Everyday podcast. Thanks for talking about this extraordinary undertaking that you have created. And any last words you want to leave with the audience about how they can? I won't even say how they can. Any last words you have for our audience?
Well, first I wanna say if anything in this conversation felt like brought something up for you, reach out to us if you do want to start working with voice and presence with Sandra, or explore if you're like, I have this thought, I'm trying to like bring it to life. We can help you. The other thing, Sandra, I want to say is thank you for creating the edge of every day and for being so brave and so courageous and so like you're so far ahead. Like when we were talking about ferocious compassion, I was trying to wrap my brain around it. And this was, I think, a year ago. And now here we are, and you can see it bubbling up in all of the women influencers and in the spirit. I mean, I'm just so grateful for you. So
Mhm.
grateful that you have the courage to sit behind the mic and share how you feel, what your thoughts are, and help us think differently and help us not be afraid to do the same for us. So that's what I want to do. I want to thank you for that, and I'm so excited you're coming to the network. Thank you.
Thank you. And to you, my wonderful listeners, thank you for spending this time with us. And remember, you are always at the edge of the miraculous. Till we speak when I'm at Magic Thread Media. Take good care.
I want to thank each and every one of you for being here as we explore what it really means to create magic at work. If this conversation resonated with you, or if someone came to mind while you were listening, share the episode with them. Help others who are looking for these types of conversations find us. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, and review so you're notified when the next episode airs. Until next time, keep edge walking, keep challenging the way things have always been done, and keep making magic at work.
Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to a Magic Thread Media podcast.